Ladies and gentlemen, good evening and welcome to Season 4 of the ESL Pro League. 9 weeks, 14 teams now will be playing. We have expanded for $750,000. I'm here with Alex Messine-Richardson.
Hey,
looking quite well travelled over the last few days, I'm sure, my friend. How are you feeling?
I mean, this is actually 7 weeks no shave for me. This is what's going on right now.
It's not bad, actually. It's a little bit more than I could have achieved, I think. Well, to be fair, it all grows from down here for me.
I'm a manly man. Mitch, I'm a manly man.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's waste absolutely no time. If you have been watching on Twitter, you would have seen a little bit of a prelude to this upcoming match. It is our wildcard match, of course, just the one best of 3 for tonight, Alex.
Yeah.
And what a story we have surrounding this one.
I mean, wild is the word, Mitch. Like, about 10 minutes ago, it was announced. I got about an hour preview prior to that, but this is insane for any of the uninitiated out there. Godsent and Fnatic, there has been a Swedish shuffle of colossal proportions, and the names are on your screens now. Just take it all in, take a deep breath. Every CSGO fan is a little bit confused right now because the Swedes have gone and thrown it's not even a spanner, they've thrown an entire machine into the works.
Yeah, and this is not pre-recorded, this is not, I guess, put on by us. This is legitimate shock and surprise at seeing how things have been mixed up here as well. Virtus.Pro thought they were going into this match against the Godsent of old, the Godsent that we sort of knew, the one with your twist and your Lecro and all that. No, very much a different situation here for them right now as well. So Virtus.Pro, off the back of a very successful E-League campaign, now need to fight to get back into the Pro League after losing the match, of course, to Penta back in May, which would have put them into the league by normal methods. Yeah,
it's kind of, okay, we've got a very interesting kind of setup here. You have Virtus.Pro, who have had immense failure, actually, in the Pro League. Virtus Premier and all your dank memes, however, then proceed to go and show us what they are capable of in an offline environment. We know how good they are, and I mean, now you look at this Godsent roster and you can't help but think, oh my God. I mean, you've got 4/5 of the roster that did pick up that DreamHack Winter 2013. You know, we've seen the likes of Pronax play alongside these guys before.
It's a big throwback.
Schneider as well. I mean, he's now it's been a long time since we saw him alongside these big names.
That's right, I think it was Devil Walk that was in the team at the time that Schneider was. That was all the way back to that first major DreamHack Winter where we did see Fnatic take out NIP. First major, of course, ever. Sure. And they are essentially back, of course, with a very slight change. And there are changes on the Godsent, on the Fnatic side of things now as well, which we can probably get into a little bit further down the line. But if your memory needs to be jogged a little bit...
Has that been announced? I think it has as well. The Fnatic changes.
Yeah, it was announced on the Fnatic website. So I'm not going to delve in. Obviously, there's going to be changes, right?
Well, I mean,
3 players missing.
We have to mention, of course, that Twist move was made. Everyone was so excited about Twist, and if there was a Swedish shuffle, where does he end up? Now he's alongside the ranks of Olof Meister, and that's something we'll talk about later, because we've got so much to talk about with this best of 3. As you can tell, we are just nerds who like video games, and this is an exciting part of the story. I honestly don't know where people's kind of mindset's going to be going now, because there's no doubt in the majority of cases, people are looking at Godsent now as clear favourites in this, whereas 5 minutes ago, prior to the announcement, you'd have been thinking this should be VP's route back into the Pro League.
And that's probably what they were thinking as well. Now, they probably had a bit of prior knowledge, but this is the Virtus.Pro off the back of a 2-0 victory against Fnatic at E-League. So for them, that was a huge comeuppance, a huge achievement. Even Taz, speaking afterwards, spoke about the merits of sticking with your team now as a veto does occur. We'll sort of get through that one now. Bans on Dust 2 and Nuke to kick things off. So VP definitely feeling bolstered by that offline performance, and I guess almost being vindicated in staying together as 5 and just working on their issues.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about more and more about this VP, and just the fact that they got that success meant a whole lot to them. I mean, I know that taking hits like the Virtus Premier, taking these hits online, being able to demonstrate what they're capable of offline in one of the biggest prize pools in current competition certainly was a huge step for VP, and we know that they're in good form as well. This, however, does look like the vetoes have been settled. VP taking the cobble, Cash going Godsent's way, and then you've got yourselves a train to decide it. Now, this makes a lot of sense. If you look at the first 2 bans, it's common sense knowing VP's performance on Dust 2. We know they tend to purge it away. There was a moment like 6 months ago where Taz, I don't know whether he was joking or not, was convinced Dust 2 was suddenly VP's best map. He was, of course, proven wrong. And then Nuke, that's just Godsent. I mean, a brand new roster, a mix of Swedes, not going to be looking to take the new map.
VP don't probably really want to play it that much either. I mean, the major performance against SK was not good in a series they had to win. They picked it. Speaking to the coach after the game, I personally had a chance to chat to him, and Koopman, of course, he said, maybe we weren't ready for SK on this.
I just remember the analyst desk getting really upset about that. I just remember just sitting there with all of them going, wait, so you just took a risk on such an important game. Good to see Newt taken out, though. And this is actually a pretty sexy map pool. We've got a lot to look forward to with this one. Cobble, Cash, and then Train if we need it. I would love to see a full 3 maps here, Mitch.
Yeah, absolutely. And may even go all the distance, of course. Now, if we want to throw back to Cobble, the last time we saw Virtus.Pro on this map actually was a successful endeavour for them at the E-League Finals. It's a 16-10 scoreline over Fnatic. So, VP obviously encountering 3/5 of that lineup in this match as well. Should be feeling reasonably confident going into it. Again, who knows what to expect from this lineup. I'm excited about Flusher as well. I think it was already said a little bit in discussion now, maybe with Olofmeister not in the picture, Flusher might be able to take a more central role on this new Godsent team as well and actually be able to show us a bit more of his stuff. But again, it's all speculation from here on out.
Yeah, and I mean, if you do have a look at the announcement made by Fnatic, it seemed abundantly clear that they put so much time and effort into trying to make it work. Like, there was obviously some kind of ruptures within the roster, within I don't know whether it was clashing personalities. You don't need to make it that that clear. However, they tried to make it work. They tried to like lick their wounds and make it work. Unfortunately, as over time it became clear that it became apparent that they had to make a change. And I mean, it was a great example brought up from Fnatic that they saw this before, rewind the clock to the likes of Forest and Get Right, then creating that reunion of NIP.
Exactly.
It does happen. These teams, the Giants, Titans, 3-time major organization holding that 3-time major title. And now I can't help but feel this is just another chapter. Godsent with the likes of Crims, JW, Flusher. Now Pronax as well. Like these four were on that major stage. And it's going to be scary to see how they perform. Now you've got Schneider in the mix.
Yeah, and the best part is that you consider Schneider as well as part of this equation. It was almost exactly 3 years ago. Almost to the day, almost. Well, very close anyway, since DreamHack Winter, of course. The first major, Fnatic won that one over NIP here as well as our screens blinking and out of existence. We're not the only ones getting excited about this one. There's clearly a glitch in the system. Teams are switching up and so are our screens. But we are waiting to get into the game in just a few moments. I know everyone at home is probably thinking the same thing as us and saying, get these guys off the screen and get the game going. So we are waiting for everyone to file in and join on up. Obviously, Virtus.Pro, if they didn't already know, need to assess this new field of competition, decide how they're going to play things out here.
I mean, I think it's safe to assume players talk to players and they might have known.
Well, I mean, Simple already tweeted about it.
Simple knew. Simple knew, so everyone should have known. But no, definitely, it's going to be really, really intriguing to see what form we see from VP because they have always had this problem. This has been a problem. Everyone is aware that there's 2 different types. There's 2 different breeds of VP. You get the VP in an offline environment when they're, face-to-face, eye-to-eye, and they are just a squad of friends, of brothers, and they can put performances like we saw at E-League. Of course, that 2-0 versus Fnatic. It does then also bode repeating that they did have one of the worst scores we've ever seen from Pro League. I think I remember tuning in towards the end of the week 7 with week 8 and they had 18 losses to their name, 2 wins. It was an abysmal state of affairs. You can see a little update there of where we are at. We've got almost all of the boys from VP. In fact, we do have the full 5 and Godsent are going to be trickling in. You know what they're doing, Mitch? They're changing their Steam avatars.
That's right.
That's right. They're getting their Godsent logo. That's my guess.
I just want them all to have the deal with it face actually to sign in on as well with. But yeah, absolutely. And the fact that VP actually failed to re-qualify initially for the Pro League by losing to Penta way back in May. Right? That's a big throwback now as well. That was not for this season, but to a prior one there as well. So obviously that's where the whole idea of Virtus Premier came from, and where Virtus.Pro were struggling in their online performances. But the reality is that obviously off the back now of E-League and heading into the Pro League, which is a predominantly online sort of arena, Virtus.Pro need to lift a bit as well. I mean, there's a good chance that Pasha is, sitting his daughter on his knee while he's trying to play or whatever. There are obviously a lot of things that, speaking of Taz as well, he said, look, we do have to balance a lot between our playing and our lives as well, as a lot of them as fathers and husbands, as they are a little bit more, as I've used the term before, grizzled veterans in terms of their age coming into this. So,
but, I mean, did you see Taz's statement after winning E-League? He basically went out and no, I think it was a combination of things. One, it was shutting up the the non-believers, the flamers, the community that the vocal part of the community that found Virtus.Pro's disparity between online and offline discouraging. And then he basically spoke out saying, we have stuck together through thick and thin. These are 5 of my closest, let's do some maths, Alex, 4 of my closest friends. And they've proven that staying together and solving your problems does sometimes result in success. And I know that was a very big win for Virtus.Pro. And it's really interesting that you have 2 very different storylines here. So you have Virtus.Pro who have proven...
contrasting.
Right, exactly. You've got Virtus.Pro who have just gone out, won an offline event and said, sticking together makes it work. And you've just got, Fnatic, one of the best teams in the world, at times the best team in the world. I say for times it was an extended period of time, just disbanding. It's so funny to see like this kind of disparity between the two.
And still in recent memory as well, you have to think about Fnatic, and their performances haven't been that bad. I'm sure a team achieving at the level they have should have high standards for themselves, and maybe off the back of the loss to Virtus.Pro, and of course prior to that, losing to Liquid in the semi-finals of ESL 1 Cologne, they would probably be saying, yeah, these are not results that we want, but this is a team that was still flying relatively high in terms of their achievements and abilities, and still said, no, we're going to call it a day here and sort of go for something new here as well. And then we can throw back to NIP as well, a team who suffered a huge downturn in performance over a long period of time. They stayed together, they worked through it, and we've started to see them slowly improve. Yeah, it's been up and down a little bit of a roller coaster for a lot of their fans, but overall it's promising signs to them as well. So the Swedish shuffle, of course, is pretty much nearing completion here as well. I'm quite interested, Alex, to see that Ninjas in Pyjamas didn't choose to weigh in on this at all or become involved or intervene in any sort of way. It's very much been between Godsent and Fnatic where the players have been switching.
Yeah, but I mean, the point you raised, and I believe it does bode repeating, is the fact that now, in the absence of Olofmeister amongst these guys, it's going to be someone else to take the reins. We're going to be trying to see exactly, you know, who is going to be stepping up to the plate. I think Flusher is all eyes are on him, as he could be that free man. You know, he can be this new star player. We know Crims is going to be no stranger to working alongside him. JW as well was someone that was it was an interesting debate surrounding JW for a while, saying that he'd fallen from grace, that he was no longer that Fnatic star, that others had taken the helm from him. But now I can't help but feel, and this does admittedly take a bit of a kind of personal opinion, but
let's take a walk down.
Let's take a walk down Machine's mind, where I can't help but feel this is going to be very reinvigorating for JW, just because this is, I mean, he's been, you know, making his own shop, building his own brand. Godsent is this opportunity to build his own brand, and I know just from a personal perspective, less as a player, more of just for him, and fresh start can do an awful lot to a human being, and I think this could be big for J-Dubs.
Yeah, clean slate for more than just one player on the Godsent lineup as well. I brought up Flusher fleetingly earlier on as well, a player who's had his own headlines, but yeah, it's been questioned. Maybe we'll start to see a little bit more from him now as well. And people are wondering, yes, Godsent do qualify for the next major purely on virtue of having three old Fnatic players. They are straight through. Dude. So now the current Fnatic roster has to re-qualify for the major in and of themselves there as well. So it is a massive, massive switch up. Just in case you were asking the question, yes, they do have to go back through the qualification process again.
And I'm just saying, like, after that major, after the upsets at the ESL 1 Cologne, I remember sitting there multiple times and just sitting there and realizing just how stacked the qualifier is going to be for the next major. And now it just got worse, dude. The new Fnatic will be there as well. It's just gonna, this is gonna be a very exciting 6 months of Counter-Strike. I'm telling you that right now.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I think Wenton also tweeted out as well, saying that, you know, this is a big opportunity. This is obviously, you know, a big chance for him as well to step into the spotlight. A lot of questions over Wenton as well. And a lot of people also speculated for a while, is he going to be that next fifth for Fnatic to come in here as well? Everyone sort of ideated on this possibility of him coming in as well. So we're going to be able to see more from him additionally. But again, we've talked a little bit about these two teams, but it's important to bear in mind that we have expanded the Pro League from 12 to 14 teams. Now, there already are 13 teams, if I'm not heavily mistaken, qualify. We can look at them later on. But, you know, everyone's sort of forgotten about XSK Gaming as well, who are now called Team X. Obviously, Glaive has moved across to that team as well after, I'd say, a stellar performance filling in for Astralis there at ESL 1 Cologne. I think he definitely gave a good account of himself. So that's yet another team as well that may have some question marks over their heads. You know, we definitely got a very interesting field coming up.
No stranger to question mark.
I thought about a way to work that in, but I'm like, Alex is much better at that than I am.
It wasn't bad. It's not my best. It's not my best.
I've heard worse, dude. I've heard worse.
An interesting point to make is that this kind of leadership is going to be raised to question as well. So yes, Pronax is the mind of old Fnatic and likely will be taking the reins here. But also there's a new addition of RDL, who I know was taking a very active coaching role in the previous iteration of Godsent. So I'm going to be really intrigued if we do get this. We know it's tried and tested, a format that works. It works for Na'Vi with the kind of the back and forth between what was Zeus and Seized. Starix. You've then of course got, you had Fallen, and he was always had Zeus behind him as well. We know that we're having an in-game leader and an external coach back and forth, that you have threat as well and exist always for NIP. There's these constant examples of this back and forth, these two minds better than one. Now you've got RDL and Pronax.
Yeah, I mean, or a counterpoint, maybe not always here as well. I'll get onto that in just a second. But here are your standings so far, or at least these are the teams that have qualified. You can look straight on down the list there as well. Team X are in there. Penta Sports have returned to the Pro League as well. See if the German juggernauts can show a stronger account of themselves than previously, as well as all your old favourites are in there. Astralis, Fnatic, of course, the new Fnatic, not the old one. Na'Vi, Envious, G2 are all in the mix there as well. So pick your favourites, stick with them as we do go through the season. It is an impressive lineup there as well. See FaZe Clan, Hellraisers, and Flipside also floating in the mix. Now, we're talking about two minds are better than one, but obviously Zeus or moving on to Immortals in recent times as well. So when I just asked the question, this duality of coach and player, when they do share a calling role, does it always work out? We know that Dennis obviously took over a lot of the calling duties in Fnatic with the changes that came in as well. Now, obviously, those three players will be going forward without his guidance, and it will be perhaps down to RDL and Pronax. Will it be a combination of the two?
I mean, I just need to kind of clear things up. Admittedly, it may have sounded a bit silly at the time. I know that Pronax and RDL have worked together before. It's not like these are new additions to the Godsent name. But the thing that's interesting is that Flusher has been that for Fnatic. Given the departure of Pronax, there was a little bit of a honeymoon period where everything was working. Do you remember?
Yes.
They went from being Mr. Rigid with Pronax at the helm to this very free-flowing Fnatic that were just the best players and they would win.
Kind of like what FaZe tries to emulate, I feel, or at least says they do.
Exactly. Yeah. Yes, says they do. But what we have got here is then you've got three great minds, and you've got yourself a JW and Crims doing what they do best. I'm very excited about this roster, and I think, to take the words of MBK, this is not a roster change. This is a nuclear bomb dropped on CS:GO. This is huge, and I just think the landscape is going to keep on shifting. I don't think this is the only roster change we'll be seeing. There's no doubt about it, but Rostermania has started with the Swedes. If you have just joined us, guys, this is a very important game. One best of three and one team securing a spot in the $750,000 league that is the ESL Pro League. You don't get many more important games like this in an online environment, and it is going to be so damn exciting to see how it does play out. Defending, well, champions from E-League, Virtus.Pro, and now Virtus Premier, currently going to be having to battle to try and regain that pro title. And it looks like we're almost ready to go. I think we're just waiting on one member. We still have Schneider joining us. It's just going to be Pronax, I believe, who is yet to grace us with his presence.
So the last time that Schneider actually played against VP, I think, well, I mean, even in this lineup, he was in the initial Godsent, right? If you throw it back to Ancient and even further back to Property, that was 3 of the initial Godsent players with Zende and Berg, I think. That was like 2015 March, way back. So that should give you an idea, at least, of how long the dynasty of Godsent has sort of been building up into what we now know it to be. Obviously, the primarily Swedish mix sort of grinding or setting their nose to the grindstone all the way through their games and just trying to actually make a name for themselves now as well. This is a big shake-up for them, as we've already touched over fairly extensively here as well. And a lot of people have said, you know, Virtus.Pro, we haven't seen much from them online. I mean, we can throw back to the last season of the Pro League as well and say it was a disappointing one for them. Definitely formed the centerpiece in the main arena of which Virtus.Pro's downturn did occur. But I mean, you can't argue with VP's recent results. Yes, they were on land, but the fact that they can achieve them, it's the self-confidence that the players get from it. You know, 2-0ing Astralis at the major as well, obviously before falling to SK, and then obviously going straight into their fantastic run at E-League. So this is a Virtus.Pro that people should be ready to see fire once we get all the players in here as well. Still missing Bialy as far as I understand.
Yeah, Bialy is the last man to join us. The map pool, just to reiterate, is not, we start on Cobble, Cash, and then Train as well. Now, I do really hope that we do go all the way here, Mitch. I think we could have a fantastic evening of Counter-Strike. It's going to be, I think the main determining factor will be whether or not we do get to see the Virtus.Pro that we know they can be. It's always been a bit of a difficult one for them to overcome coming into the Pro League, of course, conceding so many losses back-to-back. However, it is just something quite magical surrounding this roster. Their grit, determination, and it's evidenced in their results as of late, just how capable they can be. But man, oh man, this Pro League, this is going to be a good set of weeks. I mean, what is it? Just over 9 weeks we get of Counter-Strike. It's going to be throwing in all of your guys' faces relentlessly over these next couple of weeks. It does kick off just next week.
Yeah, and this should say a lot to you as well if this is the wildcard game coming into this one. There are a lot of teams as well that, you know, question marks have still hung over in the past. You know, we're seeing teams like Flipsides and your Mouse Sports and your Penta making their reappearance here as well. We've seen quite a few machinations of the German scene sort of profit in towards the Pro League.
Machination.
Your name's in there, yeah, like machination.
That's awesome.
It's an adjective for something that's machined or created. But
Machination. You
go.
know what? People
There's
don't
a lot
realize
of
this.
in there.
This is something people don't realize about you, Mitch, is you've got like, he's incredibly well educated. He's basically an engineer. He could build a plane if he wanted to. And he keeps using words that I just have to nod and smile and pretend I understand what they mean.
Doesn't do me any good because everyone's in the same position. Half the time, I don't even know what they are.
So everyone
as
in
well.
Twitch chat's going,
yeah, exactly.
Machination.
You know it's true.
Is
You're not the only one, mate.
Okay.
Come on.
Okay, I'm not alone. Machination, though. Write it down. Am I saying it right? I think I
Imagine
am.
Sean Connery trying to say that.
I'm not going to try and do my impression. I feel like this is not the time for Alex doing awful impressions of Sean Connery.
Let's jump into Cobblestone, ladies and gentlemen. The first map here for this wildcard match, and what a cracker it is going to be. The fan vote, 76% for VP coming into this one as well. Hard to deny that one. Those two don't quite add up to 100%, but that's beside the point.
Told you you're an engineer.
Some quick maths on stream. I tried it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Room for knife round, though.
Yes, indeed. We are into it. Ladies and gentlemen, this is going to be big. It starts with a knife on Cobble, trying to determine who will be choosing that idyllic side. It likely will be going for the T side here on Cobble, and it is that brand new Godsent roster. This is going to take some getting used to. It's Godsent. When I'm going to see, I mean, okay, let's have a little bet. €1 to the person that calls them Fnatic first.
Yeah, all right.
Okay,
we'll
deal.
do that.
All right. But Crims, JW, and Flusher alongside Pronax as well. This is like, they're kind of reunited alongside Schneider, who is no stranger to the Fnatic name as well. It's been shifted, and now we do just wait to see if Pronax can go mad 1v3 to get the blood pumping.
Wouldn't that make a statement, hey? He's actually got just the one stab left in here as well. Can actually do it. Let's go. Pronax makes the statement. He's going to kick us off into a pretty darn strong knife round as well. So it will be Godsent to take that one away here. Remember, guys, you can get your insights and thoughts through with hashtag ESL Pro League. If you do love our observer, Rushdie12345, or if you don't, you can always send him a tweet. He loves interaction one way or another.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I feel like, you know, he could.
Is there a 6 on there, or is it just 5?
I think it might be 6.
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
Just you definitely could have been Rushly 1. I'm just saying, like, I don't think there was that many Rushleys. He just had to go ahead and add some unnecessary numbers. But we are ready to jump into things. And actually, given Pronax's success on the knife round, I made an assumption, and that did make an ass out of you and me, because given that they've taken the CT side, we do see Pronax making his decisions and deciding that it's going to be VP that have to bring the pain as we dive into the pistol round. It's one best of 3, the wild card, and it will indeed be wild as we begin on Cobble.
And quite the utility investment here for Virtus.Pro coming forward. 2 smokes and 4 flashes amongst them here at the moment. You can see they've split at least for the most part. It's one smoke down on B. Taz wants to challenge up here on the platform. JW quickly thinking better of it now and just jumping down to the safety.
Okay, so some Alex analysis is JW has a cobblestone pin, so he's going to go off and he's going to drop a 30. Thank you, I'm here all week.
One.
Yeah,
it's a good tippy waitress as well. While you're at it. Good start, but JW now actually wants to go hunting a little bit here as well on towards B long. We'll find Taz just around the corner here as well. This might be more than he bargained for. Taz going to take his head off straight away. Snyder is actually going to allow Snacks to come down and give himself away with the flash. Everyone is flashed up, and Neo at least managed to pick one out of the mix.
They didn't check it as well. Had that flash not been there, he would have still gone unnoticed for a short period of time, but this has gone fantastically for Virtus.Pro. Taz's patience was rewarded initially, and that did give them the route on towards the B site, and now Flush is just hanging out in stables, and he indeed does need something quite special to get out of this sticky situation with his life. It's not going to be happening. He's going to be hunted down by numerous Virtus.Pro members, and a jumping burst from Pasha's Glock is going to bring number 1 home for VP.
VP losing no one in that round as well. That's utility they invested in. Well used, and it was JW went for something a little bit aggressive over on B long that essentially opened up the site for Virtus.Pro, looking for Snacks, but Snacks, or believe it was Taz actually around the corner, picked him off all too easily. Bit of a pandemonium inside drop room as well.
Well, I mean, it was basically VP just waiting for the CTs to do something aggressive. They were waiting to see if they pushed out an A long. They were waiting to see where they came from. It did end up being JW who tried to put a toe over the line, and Taz punished them. And following that, he pulled the trigger on the drop, execute 3 Ts just flooding into drop room, and a very flashed up Schneider did the rest. And so we begin the second round. This will be a very methodical approach, seeing these triple SMGs coming out from VP and plenty of utility to go alongside that. Leaving Neo at A and positioning the rest of the players just trying to find their way through drop room, and of course letting that smoke and various other utility investments from the CT side get wasted. Look at this info from Neo though, and that spray control is abysmal. Finally does get the final bullet into Flusher. Only had 1 left in the chamber. He's lucky to see that actually go his way, but fortunately he has stabilized, and his pressure on A should make things easy for the guys on B. But saying that, Crims is going to be able to reposition with a new sounding 5.7 that does upset me still.
Everything sounds different. I mean, the guns, like when you're firing a Mac-10, sometimes you think you're less accurate because it sounds so strange.
The UMP sounds beastie though. Yeah. Very aggressive sounding SMG now.
So obviously, so far so good. Neo's managed to get himself 3 kills with that Mac-10 as well. So it's all cash money for him, and he's going to make his way into drop room as well. Get himself yet another one. And VP are using Neo quite nicely here as the spearhead just to make a little bit of extra money early on in the piece. It'll be a flash in a moment. Tuck that onto the side.
Yeah, that lack of head armor has been fully exploited by that SMG. Such a cheap investment and so much money in the bank. 4 kills with a MAC-10, 600 apiece. I'll let the engineer do the maths on that one.
I'll give them a
Still
on the spot there,
VP,
mate. Right.
VP will go hunting. They do have 2 AKs. I'd be kind of worried if they did start going too hungry with this one. Bialy, you're making me nervous. Don't want to be losing this investment so early on in such a big game. But they do want to take everything away from Crimson. They will remove that Kevlar and SMG. All good in the hood for VP as they take 2.
Yep, that's 4 for Neo from the round there as well. So like you said, 6,300 for him. Starting off this third round, a good beginning for him. Pasha may as well just stay on that MAC-10 here at this stage. As Godsent, of course, after the force in that previous round, as minimal as it was, they won't buy up much here at all.
Yeah, this should be a freebie. This will actually probably be the most pure eco we'll see over the course of these next 3 maps. It will be nothing. All 5 USPs, likelihood is they're going to be stacking and they have chosen the B site, basically closed their eyes and made a choice. This time it will be B, where the CTs put them all of their pistols. It's a question of doing damage though. If they can take any of these AKs away, it'll be at a slight achievement, but it's not looking great as VP just walk on in. It's a BDP. And Pronax does take something away. Snack's gone, but I mean, that will be the end of it. Pronax is going to have his life taken from him, and now Flush is just desperately hoping for a dink. Or 2, okay, 2 weapons gone. That could put an AK in his palm. It won't be there. It was just a greedy SMG. And now he just sits and waits as that bomb will be ticking down, and VP are going to find their 3rd.
Flusher may hope to find something here through drop. But I think, yeah, he's obviously given away his position with the earlier kill coming through now as well, hoping to maybe sneak one away, but his odds of survival, especially sticking so close to this side, are fairly low. Bialy has an inkling that at least through that window, Flusher may be laying in wait through Connector, of course. Great place to sally forth and get some, a bit of an ambush going. Flusher forced back there by the Molotov, and there'll be nothing doing.
It's not in VP's interest to go hunting for this one. Flusher has to come to them, and they know it. They will be able to just go ahead and just wait him out, and here he comes, hungry for an AK, and he meets an AK, but not in the right format. It will be him going down, and we do see the first 3 for the Polish side. And so now it's time to see if that defensive choice Pronax made off of the back of the knife round, Alex, words are hard, will be rewarded. Let's see how they do choose to set themselves up here. I'm intrigued to see whether we're going to be seeing any more of that aggression on towards B platform. JW showed us that's where he's going to be positioning himself, and it is going to be a 3-2 split to start things off. Schneider and Flusher given the responsibility at A.
Interesting that Snacks bought a CZ and nothing else last round and only managed the 1 kill with it there. I'm not sure if he was saving, obviously, for maybe an AWP for either him or someone else, but no, he's brought up into an AK like the rest of VP. Pretty common here on this T side, as often mobility is, a priority. You just want to try and storm these sites as quickly as you possibly can. But so far, VP are looking to use that as much as they can and maybe make a bit of a rotation on a dime over towards A. So far, Godsent not too deeply committed onto that B side here as well. And with the warning shot being fired, they will be aware that at least Pasha is present on long A. This will make Godsent a little bit nervous, but won't necessarily cause huge changes, although Pronax and JW are moving over.
Yeah, you're speaking too soon, it seems, because just 1 glimpse of Pasha on long has caused 2 members of the CT side to rotate towards A. JW has abandoned drop, Pronax has left
Snyder pushing
the play
forward
towards doors. This is a little interesting, and I think they're kind of starting to realize it was a little too overzealous. The bomb, however, is positioned towards doors, and it could end up on the A site.
And VP just pushing on to B with 2 players may even exacerbate this strange movements here from Godsent now. Bialy challenges briefly on towards Crims, on towards B long. He backs away, and now Snyder as well. Working through underpass, Bialy goes down over on B towards Crims here as well.
That's so unfortunate for Schneider. He saw one towards that danger and unable to actually find profit there. Now, though, Flusher is going to try and get himself as in position as possible. He's caught out, but so is Taz. That's going to be 1. Now trying to find number 2, but Snacks is making things difficult for him on the ramp, and it will be 1. Now 2 versus 2, thanks to Snacks. He does deliver, but he's paid a heavy price. Pronax does finish the job of Flusher, and it will be 2 for the in-game leader. 2 quick kills, and the Swedes do find their first, but by no means was that easy. VP's divide and conquer almost had them running back and forth, unable to commit to either side.
Man, JW loses his life a little cheaply there, pushing out of Connector aggressively on towards A. VP were very much ready for that, but Pronax gets the bomb carrier down and then finishes off Pasha fairly easily enough. Of course, with the bomb down, it can create some predictable pathing from your last opponent standing. And Godsent get their first round on the board here as well. Now, UMP still bought in for Flusher, so not fully bought up, but they've got enough utility to keep VP at arm's length and maybe to start to burn this time down a little bit early on.
Now, this is actually intriguing because the CT side is so desperate for information and it's so difficult to acquire on Cobblestone. We are going to be seeing this SMG, I assume, from Flush to take a couple of risks. Spray from Crims with the A1 is going to be a fresh magazine ready for this potential push from the VP side. But again, they're so unwilling. They just go for these 3-2 splits and keep the bomb nice and passive, waiting for someone to put a toe out of line. Schneider's the only one to be punished so far. Down to 63.
And Neo in a pivot position as well, where he can easily make his way to either side, but it looks like VP moving out of B entirely now. It's Taz testing on towards long. No one's sitting closer. Haybauer's there as well. He will inch forward a little bit further. And Flusher surely would have heard that one go off. Snyder is going to be here as well. A dangerous position sometimes to push up as the CT side on A. You can see he backs away. Oh, Flusher takes the head off Bialis. He just shows it for a split second. And the flash as well. Flusher getting aggressive here, but takes a little bit of damage away. And it's going to be Neo challenged out there as well. Didn't have the range to get it done there with the UMP, and Neo capitalizes.
Man, if that bomb went loose, that would have looked okay because JW was on the flank, but now Snyder's going to be tested and he does not pass. Snacks again, and Taz just walking on in, and they are hitting all of their shots. Pronak's head is no more, and now JW and Crims are forced to make a very tough decision. JW has been caught out with a flashbang as well. They're pushing so aggressive. VP, they're playing with so much confidence, trusting their aim, and indeed, they've got a very good read on the CT side as this feels like another round coming home.
Godsent try to make a two-pronged retake out of only 2 players. You push through one side of that one, and it's just Crims on his lonesome here as well. He definitely wants to hold on to the investment he made in towards the M4. He's going to just back away now in towards middle and await someone to come hunting, hopefully finish him off and survive the round through. Godsent, a glimmer of hope there, at least the first round picked up off a bye. Now, we'll have to take a back seat for a little bit longer as VP looked to clean them up.
VP were just hitting their shots there. I mean, admittedly, again, that's the second time we've seen them find success on A, and the second time we've seen the boys from Godsent get caught out of position. Schneider was up on the hut. Flusher was holding the UMP, had to go aggressive. He realized that the pressure from long was going to be alleviated once that Molotov did expire. So basically, he had to move. He was forced out of his position. His hand was kind of pressured.
He was caught in no man's land, essentially.
And that's, again, just Virtus.Pro playing well. Fortunately, Crims does preserve his M4, but that's going to be the only silver lining for these boys as their situation is a little bleak. 2,200 being the highest amount of money available for them, and 4 players in need of a rebuy. It does sound forced by territory to me, and it does already look like Schneider's got the similar plan. It's going to be Deagle and Kevlar across the board for these boys, and we have lost a poll.
Yeah, Bialy just making a swift exit from the server there as well. Schneider as well, struggling to make much of an impact early on here. Doesn't even have an assist chalked up to his name. The last couple of times as well, we've seen VP with the mobility, maybe we sort of alluded to earlier on, catch both Pronax and Snyder out on this A site. We're looking at it right now. I think it was a couple times sort of while they're changing positions, moving across from sort of Juliet over towards the site itself, can get caught out in the open. So Schneider yet to make a real big impact thus far. The Deagle buy here is definitely looking or hoping for something here. It's 2 Deagles, 2 CZs, and Crims will maintain his inventory after getting that 1 frag at the end of last round.
Yeah, I mean, these are really interesting situations when you see Godsent and you know that they're going to have to try and do something. They can't just hold sites. They can't just let VP do what they've done in the prior 4 rounds. It's going to be something different. I would expect to see maybe some aggression with this. I mean, we've got plenty of utility as well. Where do you choose to put Crims as well? That's the big question, is where do you put the only real rifle for Godsent?
Maybe Chicken Coop might be a position there as well. Thinking long angles, of course. Both sites here offer opportunities for CT players to play up close, more so B than anything else. Might see a couple players stack even up towards that B long or B platform and sit there ready to pick some off. We've seen a lot of even shotgun play used by some of these players in the past on this map. Maybe an option, at least with some of these hand cannons, should do the job just as well.
Yeah, and so we are going to be seeing the 4-1. We've seen twice Godsent's 2-3 split not working out. Instead, they choose to invest 4 players over towards the B and drop room area. And again, oh, Flusher, you are going to be in a very scary situation very fast. He has seen their feet, but will he get away with his life? He does, just for a moment. Wow, Bialy finds an angle.
Danger.
That was impressive, quick movement from him. And now, the CT side are in such a horrible situation. They're going to have to try and retake with limited weapons. The smokes are out from VP, and again, they make the right call. They are looking so polished right now. The Polish are looking polished. It's very, very nice from them. And I mean, this is just going to be a question of keep holding the Kevlar, try and get a rifle or 2.
And Pronax pushing wide back around spawn now as well. Neo going to be waiting him through halls, and Crims picks him off there as well. That gun may not be in recoverable territory yet, but no, actually, as he backs away, JW looking to try and pick that one up for his troubles. One may go to someone. It was JW to get himself the AK there as well. So, silver lining in this cloud for Godsent in this round. A struggle one, though, as well, as VP screened off that A site so expertly. I mean, worked in.
They made the call. It was, I guess it's kind of a simple read. You sit there and go, you know they're going to be forcing, and you know they're going to stack. Likelihood is they're going to stack towards B.
There's more opportunities to play the close angles at B, generally speaking.
I mean, Flusher, he knew his fate. He was just like panicking, throwing smokes, trying to find cover in order to help his team rotate with him delaying. But it was not to be. Bialy quick to find his head, and another round for Virtus.Pro. The situation is again looking rather bleak. They have basically let's try that again with 2 rifles.
Snacks just put on SSG. Surely I'm not blind. Okay, it's
an AW.
He bought an SL.
Did you really?
He did. I swear I saw it, the outline. Anyway, AWP coming in now for Snacks. Now, this is sort of what we're thinking. We're talking about it earlier on now. Who's doing most of the AWPing for Virtus.Pro? A bit of a set play even, perhaps, over towards B side. So they want to set something up.
Flusher has been really constantly pressured by VP, and this is going to be like tilt territory if he gets his head taken off here again, and that will be one. Nice work from him. He does better than he did the part last time, and now he does have a trading friend. It will be Schneider. He's unable to get the initial trade. He was a little too far away in danger, but is he going to be able to find the info? I like that he's pushing aggressive here. This will give him the knowledge that they have not committed towards A, giving Pronax and Crims time to dig their heels in at B. Now, whether or not the CTs choose to push off of this, they are still looking rather passive. It is going to be a 2-2 split, and I mean, Crims and Pronax, they're going to be desperate for just a little bit of, just a footstep is all they need. And the Molotovs are going to be more than that, as it does look like they're going to be starting to commit towards the B side. Schneider and JW get their Nikes on. They're going to go for a sprint now on the rotate on the flank, and a counter boost as well. So this is going to be them trying to come from behind. But VP, they just get so much control, Mitch. They've just walked in.
The last couple of rounds have done the same here as well. No screening smoke here for the drop room opening. Maybe that's what they want. They leave the one angle free that they're aiming at. And of course, it's Crims to fall down almost instantly. That was the gun, of course, mind you. Crims have managed to hold on to that M4 for so long, but now it's not to be, and the bomb being down, time ticking away for Godsent. They're definitely up against the clock here as well, and against a big arsenal coming out on Virtus.Pro.
This is a very good-looking Virtus.Pro. I mean, admittedly, the buy had for Godsent has been a bit of a shambolic experience for them so far. Constantly forced to like save your Deagle.
It was that fourth round that hurt them, I think.
It really was. I mean, they've had one full buy, and they haven't even seen an AWP yet in the hands of JW, and we're going to be going into round 8. But the way Virtus.Pro are playing this, they're playing very smartly. It's very passive. It's like this kind of this NIP anti-eco where they take a very cautious approach. They send one person taking the risks at a time. And now we do see number 6 for VP already.
Yeah, I mean, you pointed out Virtus.Pro playing cautiously in that last round. They also made sure that Schneider couldn't pick up one of the drop guns. Remember that, I think it was Flusher playing very close with the CZ. He did get that kill, but Virtus.Pro quickly got rid of that gun. So even Schneider pushing forward for information was extending purposely to try and get the gun. But Virtus.Pro used that, of course, to pressure the B site. With 2 players from Godsent so far pushed up on A, it was easy takings. Like you said, they had all the control they needed.
Looks like VP could be mixing up the pace here a little bit. They've been so passive, just kind of divide and conquer towards A and B. This time they have 4 bodies very close proximity towards drop, and maybe once that Molotov does dissipate, we could be seeing a little bit of a quicker execute from the Polish side. This would be the first time we do see a fully fledged, full buy defense on the B side with actual players there. They're not going to be caught up with a rotate. A good flash does slow them down, if not just for a moment. And it's all on you, Crims. What can you do? Absolutely nothing. He takes a very wide peek, and Neo punishes that. Now Pronax is the next to fall. He's going to be down to 22 already. But Pronax, what was that Molotov? He's just started a barbecue. Bialy and Pasha were the first to receive invites, and now 3-3. And JW's going to start hitting shots. Will this be the first real success that they find on their CT side?
And the rest of VP been run ragged. Snacks with only 3 health left in the AWP, but he's not going to have it for much longer here. And he is very quickly going to abscond. It's over towards the A side. Virtus.Pro at the very least here can get the plant down and get ready to try and hold it. Snacks, the lower health player, goes in for the plant, allowing Taz to set up here as well. Find a decent vantage point, as it is a 2v2. So after the nightmare start for Virtus.Pro and getting mollied on down, they still have an even numbers. Of course, Snacks can find a little spot to sit, but he gets picked off by JW instantly, and now it's down to Taz. He's up here at A long. Bomb better have been planted for him here. One at a time, he's going to have to take these Godsent players down.
It is planted for him, and if he catches JW on the cross, he will have a very easy 1v1 versus Schneider. Catches him, but he's not going to hit the shot. You have to hit it. That was his chance. That was his opportunity. Now JW can just apply pressure with the HE, but what was that? He's got 11 points of health, and Schneider is going to be sighing a sigh of relief, as not only does the second round come home, but so does the defuse. And the only problem Taz had there, his positioning, perfect. The bomb plant, perfect. The only problem he had there was not hitting that shot sooner.
Yeah, and as soon as he started taking the shot at JW, instantly Schneider went for the defuse. You could see it through Wooden. You could see, of course, the wireframe of him just getting down and getting the job done there as well. JW did his job. Yeah, he died. I mean, the buy's not going to be great.
He lost his AWP, dude. I mean, that would have been a very nice addition. Yeah.
I mean, now at least the max 7 for JW, so he might play that close-up spot on B we often see, or at least outside a drop room to try and catch someone out here as well, as Pronax has already started off things well. The account for Godsent has been opened up early. Bialy will fall.
This is the first time I think we've actually seen Godsent have the early advantage. Let's see if they can run with that. T-side now at a distinct disadvantage. It's going to be players like Pasha here towards long. It's going to be players like what was Neo over towards B, unable to make it really happen. A quick trade from Crim's Molotov. Very successful Molotov, more than players at this point in time. But here's Snyder, 1 and 2. Nice work from him. Lines up the Virtus.Pro boys, and now it's Snacks, an AWP, and a Dream. 2 to find. However, that bomb's not going to go down easy. I don't know if he's anticipating JW's presence on the side here. I think he's got a free plan. JW's going to have a free kill, and this will be number 3. A Mag 7 into the brain of Snacks, and we have ourselves a third for the Sweets.
So you can see Virtus.Pro now, it's almost a double-edged sword, this aggression coming forward. They challenged one player down at danger, killed him, and they're like, let's keep going, let's keep going, let's keep going. They missed the second player at edge, so Flusher gets pushed down. Now Schneider, they weren't expecting him, and Virtus.Pro are still moving forward, maybe getting a little bit ahead of themselves. The idea, of course, is to just get aggressive and put pressure on Godsent, but it kind of works against them there as well, as they kind of get caught out.
And for the first time in what feels like forever, it is going to be a non-idyllic buy for Virtus.Pro. 2 Tech 9s, of course, that does not really... It's not too disadvantageous, especially if you plop them towards drop, but Pronax knows this, and that's why he's pushed up. He's going to do the smoke. He did get spotted. Information gathered, and likelihood is Pronax will choose to... I was going to say retreat, but he's looking like he wants to go aggressive. Pronax, what is this? Who are you? What have you done with Pronax? He leaps forward. He gets one potential second.
What?
Who is this man playing under Pronax's name? Incredible work as he gets 2. And now VP again at the disadvantage, have to claw things back.
Godsent more than happy to match Virtus.Pro in the aggression stakes here. Somehow that worked out. I'm not really sure how.
Crazy.
I think there was a player sitting close back on that stairwell. I think it might have been Taz was waiting. Schneider in such a perfect spot as well. Look at him playing this one slow. He's going to push on Bialy before he had time to switch weapon. He had a grenade in his hand or something. He's going to fall down. It's a couple braces of 2 here, and Schneider gets himself 3. Godsent all over, behind, and up in front of Virtus.Pro. They had no idea where to look.
Yeah, we need to just quickly take a moment to explain why that is so ridiculous. Okay, so Cobblestone. Cobblestone is the map we always say CTs rarely have opportunities to get aggressive. We talk about info. This was about kills, and you can see Pronax gets 2 here, swinging into Neo. There was no way he was ready for that one. 2, and there were no headshots there either, just pure surprise enabling him to pick up those kills. But following that, Schneider quickly flanking from behind. There's no way Virtus.Pro were anticipating 2 CTs, stopping them from setting up towards B long. Very, very solid stuff from them, and that is such a rarity here on Cobblestone. That is unique, and not only to Cobblestone, but also to Godsent. That's not something we expect to see from the likes of Pronax. And look at Crims go. Finally, he finds success early on B long, and
surely not.
That USP wasn't far off from dispatching of Bialy.
This Deagle lineup here for Virtus.Pro, getting chipped down to just 1 less there. Flusher goes aggressive onto Taz, who finds him there as well, so patience pays dividends here for the veteran of Virtus.Pro. Get himself a UMP, maybe not the prize he would have liked it to do for now as well. Unfortunately, not able to emulate that, and JW goes for the peak, not able to connect here as well, or at least not lethally. But only 2 players left for Virtus.Pro here. Stemming the bleed is going to be a big task.
Bialy could do something here. I mean, a half-health Pronax, this is something he could connect, but the chances of anything coming about for Virtus.Pro is so unlikely. This is looking like 2 600 kills, but no, there it is. That's the trade Bialy was looking for. Puts a UMP into his palms, and the bomb not far away. It is reachable. He's not interested in getting the bomb down, though. That's almost impossible if he doesn't start finding kills. Nice positioning from Crims. He will back up, though. He realizes this is no slouch. It's Bialy, and he does have a Desert Eagle. 1 bullet to the brain, and that is the end of your fun. JW, though, solves the problem for us, and we are going to be seeing the 5th for Godsent. And so things do start to stabilize. After Virtus.Pro having a miracle run, it was 6-1 at one point. Godsent have got 4 consecutive rounds, and we are back to what was we promised to be a fantastic best of 3. We do have a close one.
And especially on maps that perhaps we're starting to see be a little bit more slanted in the T-side direction, CT aggression pays off really, really well if you can make it work and you can know when you're biting off more than you can chew. Godsent have matched Virtus.Pro's aggression in the last few rounds, and it's worked out famously. I mean, or even more so when you have the nice guns, when you're bought out properly, but even when they were getting to that point, they really managed to take VP by surprise, and now VP have to reflect on that.
Something I'm really excited as well is if we start seeing any of those kind of like copyright old Fnatic strats, like the likelihood is you're going to be seeing a lot of just Pronax is talking to Flusher, Crims, and J-Dubs just like, hey, do you want to do that thing we did 2 years ago? You know, like that's what's going to be so great about this. Or a little less than that, just a year ago. Still, here we are. Flush up, just the 1. This is a very reminiscent. I've seen rounds like this before, but this time something's different. JW has an AWP on A, and that's going to be a bit of a difficult pill for the boys at VP to swallow as Bialy's fallen going aggressive towards doors. This is, again, a very difficult situation. The Virtus.Pro boys have been encountering problems now. As soon as Godsent started getting a couple of early picks, having these trades available, things have just been getting from bad to worse. He nearly finishes the job right there. Just the low health Pasha left.
Yeah, JW should be able to pick this one off. The smoke, though, is going to cover Pasha's advance. The shot misses there as well, and JW now having to go towards a USP to finish this one. It will be at least chipped in by Pronax towards the end there. But JW was set up in a position on that A site to trade at length with A Long. He was obviously able to get the old 1-2 going there and cut Virtus.Pro down to 3 players before they could even press in. So now VP, door being shut squarely in their face, and they're struggling to get even close towards that A site, let alone get a bomb down.
Yeah, bomb plants have actually been quite the rarity here after the initial Virtus.Pro success. They've got on I was about to swear, a hell of a lot of utility. Where did that come from? Excuse my brain. There's a load of smokes, a whole flashbang, and a Molotov as well. And so the T-side are probably going to be throwing something fast into the face of Crims. He's been constant presence here on B Plateau, and it looks like he's going to be doing the same thing again. Smokes himself, wants to go ahead and do that one way up on the box, and oh, this is feeling filthy. He is flashed, though, surely going to back up, but he can choose to stand vigilant. This is the most ridiculous thing. He is now a statue on Cobblestone, and now he's going to find them. That's one for Pasha. He does fall. Looking for more, but the VP side has already flooded over the B side. Crims, how did he get away with that for so long? Now the retake is on. JW's already found one. He is aggressive. Pronax as well has the bomb in his grasp, but they've got themselves some weapons. It's not impossible for Taz to do some damage here. Only 2 remain.
Yeah, that's right. It's just me, Flusher and Pronax to get through. Now, the bomb is within grip. That nade really hurt him, though, now as well, and having to recover from that one. Almost expecting a push from B Long, but it's going to be coming around the other side, and there is Flusher coming on through. You could see how pressured JW was from the aggression from VP pushing onto the site. There was smoke up, but they were firing with the Tech 9s on towards JW. He was trying to get back towards Chicken Coop. So the aggression, to a degree, paying off there for Virtus.Pro, but Pronax really took the wheels off the cart there, just sitting up close towards B platform and cutting players down, getting the bomb loose early on.
Okay, there's 4 AWPs in play. Take a moment to process that. We have double AWP T-side Cobble. This is not the most standard of plays, and I'm intrigued to see if it does play off. Pasha is going to be trained on Flusher's peak here if he chooses to go for it, and it will be rewarded. That's one. Virtus.Pro going to be breaking the meta, it seems, as they already find success.
Taz did that, I think, a couple rounds ago as well with the Deagle. Neo picks off Schneider here as well. So Virtus.Pro reading a little bit more into this aggression from Godsent and now being ready for it as well. Very much just holding those wide angles and waiting for a CT to get ahead of himself. And this is what I said. Sometimes you can bite off more than you can chew, but JW, he can deal with that piece.
Yeah, and of course, the point you have to make when you're looking at double AWP T-side, especially given Virtus.Pro's current situation, is the risk involved. Yes, there was one preserve, but buying a second does just basically mean your economy is at risk should you concede this round, and you know what? It's still a possibility. What was 2v4 is now going to be made 1 versus 3 as Pasha finds another. It was that AWP v AWP, and Pasha quicker on the trigger. It will be 7 for VP, and that's a very important round for them. A lot of success for Pasha. 3 kills in the round, and that AWP, it has not paid for itself, but it's definitely justified, as we are going to be seeing them go back to a bit of normality. He chooses to get rid of that second AWP.
So Virtus.Pro spend 3 or 4 rounds getting caught mid-stride by an aggressive Godsent, pushing into positions that they're not ready for. This time VP say, we're going to keep you guys at arm's length and play the long angle game. First, we're going to wait for a few of you to push into us and give us some easy opportunities, and then we're going to play for picks over on that A side. They lost snacks. Pasha gets 3, hands it off back to his buddy and says, off you go.
4 towards B long early, not a single man towards drop room. Crims is actually a little late to his normal spot, and so VP could be able to profit from this. 2 Molotovs to try and clear out the early stairs, and Crims, again, going to be flashed. I think Felix has spent more time flashed on B Plateau than he has not. As we start to see a little bit of success. What was that? Neo! He's going to kill himself, but it hasn't stopped VP from finding success. They have the numbers, and they're extended by Snacks as he explodes 2 with the AWP. And it's going to be Flusher forced to retake. He's only going to make his way towards doors, makes his presence known with the flash.
Yeah, that's right. Going to get the spread out on Bialy to start things off, but Taz will wait behind the statue, flashes out. He's not going to peek and not try and capitalize on that one yet. Now, might try and get away towards Chicken Coop, but there is a little bit of a fringe on that smoke. Snacks, though, awaiting Flusher. Will pick him up for 3 kills there as well. Half time, it's 8-7, Alex, but Godsent showing a bit more of the aggression that VP showcased themselves early.
Yeah, fantastic half all the same. We get to see the second half in just a moment. We take a quick break. When we do come back, we're looking at the second half of our first map of this wild wildcard match.
evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the ESL Pro League Season 4 wildcard matches. One best of 3 to decide the last spot in the season. And it's Virtus.Pro and Godsent giving us a very strong first half on Cobblestone.
It was very strong. I mean, 6-1 to start for VP. Godsent claw things back to a solid 8-7 half. VP only just pipping them at the post in those final couple of rounds. Snax has been rocking the AWP, and that was a question mark actually starting things off. I mean, we've seen VP joggling it around. We've seen Neo, we've seen Pasha. It does seem like Snax has been taking the reins in that AWP role and finding success with it as well. Saying that, Pasha picked it up on the double AWP. Double AWP T-side Cobble. Yes, indeed, it has been raised, and so has a couple of eyebrows, as we already are promising. A good damn game of Counter-Strike here. Just one best of 3. The entire evening is yours. Sit back, relax, and watch some great Counter-Strike.
Yeah, I love it. I like the idea, though, of double AWP here, just to pacify this constant CT aggression they're seeing here. But now, obviously, Shu is on the other foot. It is going to be Virtus.Pro starting off on the CT side, or moving to it in this second half here. What are your thoughts there? You know, do you think Godsent can sort of continue to trademark this aggression we're seeing from them now as well? Does it run over the top of Virtus.Pro, or does it cause them to self-destruct?
Well, I mean, the point you have to make is that 7 rounds on CT side Cobblestone is very good from Godsent.
Sure.
Like that, it was looking bleak for a while, but they're just coming into this now. The T side Cobble, should they find success in the pistol and get those initial 3, they were looking at double digits before they even get going. And it's something that, you know what, I think Virtus.Pro, no doubt, are prepared for, no doubt are willing to deal with, but it does bode well, I think, for the Swedes after that first half. They started finding a little bit of success, and I do feel like the main question mark for me is seeing just what Pronax chooses to do with his old boys. You know, the old guard. I mean, yes, he's been working with Godsent, and they found varying degrees of success, but this reunion is something that I think every CS fan is excited to see.
So, hey, Freddie, you want to try that thing we did back in Stockholm that time? Yeah, let's go. Let's do it. Well, that's what we're hoping for as well, and maybe if you can identify it, you can tweet with hashtag ESL Pro League as well. Let us know what your thoughts are in these games, and who you think is going to come out on top at this point here. Again, obviously pissed around with such a deadlocked halftime score is going to be fairly crucial. I'm enjoying seeing the amount of control that Virtus.Pro are able to exert, but that's normally once Godsent give them a sight. So this over-aggression we saw from them on the CT side early on, it's a bit of a buzzword for us by now, but it has been quite distinctive. They give Virtus.Pro maybe 1, maybe 2 early kills, maybe aggressive pushes on long A. Virtus.Pro move into A, they lock it down, and it's pretty much untakeable from there.
Untakeable, I think, is certainly
recoverable. Yeah, speaking earlier on about my vocabulary, and I've thrown something like that in. Brilliant.
Untakeable.
Keeping it fresh.
Yeah. Well, we'll be having a look at just how this does play out in just a moment. Just to clarify, guys, this is the warm-up. I know it's a little... We do say it now. Okay, we've made it clear that they're not just running around. We're not just talking to ourselves, amongst ourselves, waiting for this game to start.
So I don't go nuts for warm-up rounds as well. I've done that before. That's a huge 4K. Yeah, warm-up bitch. Brilliant.
You've really fallen into that trap before?
Done it once.
Oh, dude.
A while back, but
it's happened.
I'll own
it has happened.
Yeah, it's probably on YouTube somewhere. Not a great moment. Either way, yeah. So obviously waiting through that warm-up period now as well. Godsent, we'd love to see what they're going to be bringing on this T side as well. You talked about the brain of Pronax as it is.
I mean, and Schneider as well. Like, Schneider's been such an intriguing storyline throughout, you know, all of this. He was a little bit of a reject. Of course, you saw him, you know, under Fnatic banner a long time ago, and then kind of was not kicked to the curb, but he was in a similar kind of vein to the likes of Devil Walk, and now he's back with his boys, and it's going to be very intriguing to see just how much success Schneider can find alongside the rest. It's not like, you know, Godsent weren't reaching for the stars. It's just that these are world beaters. These could very well become top 2, top 3, should everything correlate for them.
I think everyone's interested to see what Schneider does with his team around him now, again, because we saw him actually play a few games with SK Gaming back when Modi and Asilian just sort of made their way into the team, and Magisk as well. He was subbing in while they were still finding that last player, and we didn't really get to see as much from Schneider as we maybe would have liked to. Of course, kind of hard to thrive in that mixed environment, but here we go. So, pistol now, and we do see Snax pushing out early on here as well. He's going to catch Flusher, but get stinked immediately.
I like that route from oh, I nearly did it. That was nearly the Godsent boys. They take it very passive. They go through the halls. T-hall instead of coming out and swinging wide for early info. Now, though, look at this aggression. Flusher's already going to go for the burst, leaping burst, but chooses not to commit. And already, first blood has been drawn. Snax is forced to watch as the rest of the Virtus.Pro boys try and stave off this assault. Another, this time, goes the way of Crims. They're just dropping left and right. Finally, Neo finds 1 for the Polish side, but I think that's all he's going to find, because Flusher gets himself 3 swift kills in the round. He got first, and than he got last, as he does provide the bookend frags, and we do see the first round of the second half of our first map here in the wildcard match. One of these teams locking in a spot at the ESL Pro League, and it's Cobblestone, it's T-side. Where else but JW with his sword off, and he's heading to drop room.
Yeah, no surprises there at all. Such a methodical pistol round from Godsent. By the time the Virtus.Pro actually started peeking on the A side, it was already under control of Godsent. They were there, they were waiting, they all had their spots, and they just picked it apart.
This is
Precise as a surgeon.
Such a Cobblestone-themed player, JW. He's got his lore,
yeah.
He's got his sword off, and he's got his Cobblestone pin. He's ready to go. And wow, Neo, a lot of early damage done, and Pasha finishes off. Fantastic work from Virtus.Pro, just cutting Godsent down to size right off, and they've had to pay a very small price. Oh my lord, he's nearly got another one. He has! Virtus.Pro have taken 2 bodies down without a blink of an eye. They've paid, what, 100 points of health between 2 of them, and they're good. They are happy with this turn of events, and very much so. Now Godsent are going to claw things back, and VP dig their heels in, they're in dire circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't obviously rifles there lost by Godsent, but still not an ideal situation. I think the only player buying into an AK was Flusher in this particular round. JW takes a little bit of early damage there as well. He's in drop though. He's managed to set himself up. It's hurt by his own nade. Now Pronax just has to go forward, but he's going to get double picked by Virtus.Pro. They shut this down so well. They're just bringing players in tandem, one after another, and now it's JW left on his own. I'm sorry, but the sawn-off is not exactly going to help him take this site at length. He needs to get aggressive up close and personal to take it, but he's all on his own.
The whole premise of this second round buy is that you go and just kind of immediately get early map control. You just take drop room and it's yours. However, he didn't manage to do that because there was no VP members there to receive. They were too busy finding success over towards B long. And I mean, this is horrible. This is absolutely horrible. Godsent, after such a fantastic pistol round, are going to have the second round taken away from them, and rather convincingly so. Even an AK retrieved for Snacks. He's going to be giggling to himself now with glee as VP immediately sees control and demand respect from Godsent.
And that range, of course, the sawn-off is about as accurate as a brick thrown by a geriatric citizen. It's just not going to work out for him at all. This is how they took it apart, Virtus.Pro. That streamlined communication that's allowing 2 players in tandem, I guess a little bit of a do-si-do coming in, taking the shots and backing away. Those 2 Virtus.Pro players played so well up on that B-long platform.
I have never seen, you know, a set of kills that perfectly summarize Pasha as a player. Like, misses the jump twice, can't even get on the platform, but hits some nutty headshots. Another quick kill for him with the CZ. That's hilarious, and also great for Virtus.Pro. 1 away from the double digits now, and you can see what this has done to Godsent. They're forced to go ahead and try and find success with pistols of their own. Going to be setting up for an execute on towards B.
It's going to have to be quick as well.
They've only got 2 smokes, so this is going to be, what, 1 towards doors, 1 likely on towards statue to aid their cross. Admittedly, the CT's positioning is quite beneficial. It will be retake likely, 3 players positioned towards A. Pash is basically the linchpin in this defense. If he does find success, everything is good in the hood. If he doesn't, it falls to Bialy.
And just the 1 flash for Pronax here to work with, so that will have to be placed fairly well here. Time is of the essence, of course. Godsent are only going to have 2 of those smokes to work with, and now they're going to go forward.
Perfectly timed defensive smoke. Look at that from Pasha. He's completely stopped it. They threw out their executes, and the Molotov's going to force them forward. This has gone so well for Pasha.
Beautiful stuff now as well. JW going to challenge, but he goes down instantly. That 1 flash used, but Pasha had already got the kill there. It's going to be Neon Bialy keeping things up there as well. And B long, it's Pronax to get 1, but he's on his own. He's got the bomb, a little bit of armor, but not enough health to sustain any sort of push in.
Yeah, Pasha, the hero of that round. I mean, it was either a 6th sense or he heard something, saw the smoke going over, the call was made, and just in the nick of time did he throw out the defensive smoke, forcing Godsent into a dire circumstances where they wanted to follow the smokes, they wanted to start this execute. We already highlighted utility was key for that round to work, but they couldn't. They hit a brick wall, or rather a smoky wall, with Pasha waiting on the other side. Solid work from him, and his kills were not the only things he provided into that round. And so we do see the score then rest at 10-8, and this will be another almost freebie for the Polish side. A couple of P250s, a single flashbang, and it's just going to be a question of throwing their bodies towards the B site and hoping that they do find something fortunate. Very reminiscent of what Crims was doing not too long ago.
Pasha has that smoke as well. Neo comes in from behind as well, getting himself a few kills, and that's Pasha coming in at the same time as well. Picks down 3 players, again, working well off the cues of his other teammate there to get 3 kills or 4 between them.
A taste of their own medicine. Neo boosted fast into drop. We saw Pronax find success with it in their first couple of CT aggressives.
Nasty.
And they've just done it back to them with an MP9 in the backside. Pasha just mopped him up with a couple of bullets from the A1, and well, so far so good then for Virtus.Pro. It'll be their basically just rubbing salt into the wound for Godsent after finding such a great pistol, and it was a great pistol. It looked very well executed. That was most definitely rehearsed. And then you sit there and wonder where on earth it all went. 3 consecutive rounds for the Polish side, and they're looking great.
And Godsent are being forced to play whack-a-mole without a mallet here as well. They don't have the weapons to challenge VP at long range, and you've got two people peeking you in tandem on B long, and then you've got one coming up behind you, and then Pasha obviously was capitalizing on the damage of Neo just with the M4 there as well. So the timing is really good. We talked earlier on saying the Virtus.Pro looked very crisp, looked polished as you put it, and that's a great, I guess, exemplification of that. They're very much in sync with each other, the fact that they can pull that sort of stuff off you, and Godsent, I don't think their timings have been bad either. The rounds that they've won have been very, very good. But Virtus.Pro have derailed them, winning that anti-eco round, of course. The CZs really come into strong effect. Left Godsent without options. Now they can buy back in here. Do they try and aggress on towards Virtus.Pro, not give them time to set anything up like that? Or can they keep them at arm's length and pick them off? That's the real question here.
Well, we're going to have some answers to those questions quite swiftly, as it's time to see what Godsent can do with full AK buy. Again, they boost Snacks up to this time towards Titanic. Just leaving him. I was going to say leaving him. Taz is willing to stick around on A as well. And so you do have that 3-2 split that we did see exploited by Virtus.Pro on their attack. And again, this boost. This boost has kind of become almost mandatory ever since the stairs were added. It's the best angle that he can get to try and deal with what's usually an AWP player. This time it's going to be Neo, and not going to hit the necessary shots because this is the same thing from VP every single time. I'll talk about it in a moment because this round is going nowhere fast for Godsent. 3-4 now. They've fallen again by the wayside, and they have to claw things back from a disadvantage.
Great trades there from Virtus.Pro now as well. Leave Godsent with just 3 to work with here. JW hoping to create something here out of drop room, but again, not seeing any bait.
So while things do slow down, the reason that Virtus.Pro have been finding so much success on B is because of this lovely duo-ship between Neo and Pasha. They did it in the pistol, they did it on the kind of the second round buy, which they did win, and they've done it here on the buy, where basically Neo baits them out, tries to get info on towards boost, likely does some damage, and then just as they're starting to train their aim towards stairs, Pasha jumps up and starts doing the additional damage. And that's worked time and time again from VP. 2 players working in beautiful synchronicity to bring home the early picks. Pasha, yes, did go down, but he's done enough damage now to make things difficult for Godsent. It's about to get a whole lot harder. Neo, about to be tested.
That's right, 2 players jumping across. He can't see them through the smoke though as well. This first pick should indicate to Neo that he needs to get his skates on, but JW now had his opportunity to peek out. He caught Bialy out of position, but not able to finish him off, and there's Crims though, does at least trade in now. Godsent have revived this round from a fairly, well, diabolical position now with 2 players on this B site. They can get the plant down and set up. There are no smokes, no flashes, nothing left for them here. VP have some utility to work with, but Snacks takes a bit of early damage, and that won't bode well.
Oh, Crims has paid a heavy price, and Snacks gets a HE right onto his noggin. He's down, and it's all onto Flasher. He's about to meet a fiery demise unless he pushes out, though, and he does choose to do so. Catches one while Flash. It could be a second, but no. Snacks saves the day. 2 very influential kills coming in from Snacks. It's not the first time he has saved Virtus.Pro's skin, as Godsent concede another. Virtus.Pro again starting strong. This happened on the first half, and it's happening again here on the second. This time 4 now consecutive rounds. That's the first time we've seen the bomb defused.
Yes, indeed. It is going to be a good save there from Snacks, and you're talking about this combination, of course, of Neo and Pasha. At worst, we're seeing them trade. At best, we're seeing them get 3 or 4 kills between the 2 of them, right? So they're playing a very high percentage situation between those 2 players, and honestly, for Godsent, they've been grinding and throwing a lot of resources in trying to approach B from that B platform, and it's just not working for them at all.
Yeah, and if you were looking for an answer, you know, what is the counterplay to this? I hear you ask, I hear you decree. The counterplay would be a fast AWP. A fast AWP either in that boosted position or taking that very, very, almost a cocky angle by pushing forward on towards B long, towards that archway. That's the counterplay because there's no way Neo and Pasha, I mean, chances are that's almost a collateral for the AWP player. We haven't seen them in a position to do that yet, though. It has just been a constant pressure on their economy. Again, things aren't looking particularly fantastic for them. They will get their AKs, but I mean, nades will be limited. You've got 3,700, Snyder on 3,800. Godsent need an answer, and they need it fast. You could very well be staring down the barrel of 13-8 going into an eco buy. Like, an eco buy, that's a thing, is it, Alex? Yeah, that's right. An eco. This is it. This is actually a very important round then for Godsent, because otherwise they're going to be staring down the barrel of a first map loss.
And this isn't a terrible buy for Godsent. They get at least the bare bones of what they need, plus a little bit of utility on top. But yeah, we're going to have to see them use these flashes well and play ahead of those smokes and maybe just try and take control of this B side. Again, they seem to have an inclination to work this one. This time it's a little bit faster. Not as much time for Virtus.Pro to set up here. Pronax, though, starts off well. Pasha falls. And
there's another counter to it. Going aggressive with the AK. Solid work from Pronax. Quite reminiscent of ex-teammate Olofmeister. That does feel weird to say. Something that he was very well renowned for was going for early control on towards B platform, and that's exactly what Pronax has done, except he chooses to recede. After getting this early success, he's gone all the way back on himself and are actually starting to head towards A. The one man left, the lurk, is JW, and he's just currently hanging out in smoke. He's going to be doing a great job of perhaps keeping these two CTs locked in on the rotate, but the T side have other plans, holding each other's hands and skipping merrily towards the A side. Snax is going to get info, but it's not necessarily good as he's going to go going down Taz to trade, and it looks like it's going to be an easy one. Flusher caught with a nade in his hand.
And Taz may not know what's still lurking there and towards danger, and unfortunately he's not going to be quick enough to get the shot there. Of course, he knew he needed to go for the trade and make it worthwhile for VP, but in doing so, he was drawn of the crosshairs of yet another Godsent player. Bialy makes a very quick entry on towards his A side. It's a good start. Gets himself 2 down. Crim's falling. Unfortunately, Bialy still caught out of position. And Neo, well, it's a long way away from the action now. There is time for him to get to this side and try and create something massive.
I mean, that round was a guarantee for Godsent, but Bialy does still make things difficult. Very solid work from him, and now Neo has an opportunity to actually make things happen here. Whether he checks his corner is highly unlikely. The bait has been thrown out as well. That flashbang draws his attention towards the site, and it will enable Pronax to take him down, even with just 21 points of health. A great round from Pronax, and can we please address the Pronax? 22 kills. Look at this man go. He is at the top of the score, but we saw this starting to establish itself in Godsent, actually, towards their the later stages of that old roster. And he's continued this into this new iteration. 22 kills. And we saw, I mean, he's the one pushing in for the entry. Yeah. We said, will it be Flusher? No. It seems like Pronax has taken the helm.
It's funny, his scoreboard performance as well was one of the biggest things that people actually held against him back when he was on Fnatic as well, and he was always forced to defend himself, but now things are looking a bit better. Molotov's on towards the B side now, forcing Pasha, should I say, away from the platform, but that's not going to stop him from picking up the aforementioned Pronax. It is a 3v3. The bomb is heading over towards A for the moment here, but Taz will be lying in wait.
No, Taz has got a big job on his hands because he can hear them coming, and oh, what that back turn. He's so unfortunate, unable to find anything that could have been the most perfect positioning and played out to Taz's favor. Instead, though, he does go down, and now pressure being applied. Plenty of flashes does delay these rotators. It will be Pasha with the AWP who can do the most damage here, but saying that, Neo's got the bomb loose, and now a repeat from Crims. That's a hard shot to hit, but Pasha has already taken the head off of Crims. It's now a 1v1. Is he expecting someone on site? He's going to see him. Oh, my lord. Could be the third, but no, Flush is going to save the day. He finds his second kill, and Godsent are back in this game. Mitch, I said they had to pass, and they have. They've passed the most excruciating set of tests, 2 rounds back-to-back for Godsent, and now we have a game on our hands. VP were on the precipice of running away with this one, but Godsent, a couple of interesting calls, Pronax going aggressive, and a successful round from Flusher in the 1v1 has put us back into a very manageable Swedish game.
It's just as well that Schneider second-guessed Flusher and the information he had gained in towards Underpass there as well, because he checked that door again for Taz, even after Flusher had walked straight past him there. Otherwise, that could have been a nightmare situation for Godsent, but they managed to bring it back, and that's just dotting your I's and crossing your T's as far as the information game is concerned. And now Godsent will play this one out a little bit slower. Now that fast AWP you were talking about, Alex, has established itself here. JW will be looking on towards platform. Virtus.Pro with minimal inclination to challenge that angle, given their arsenal is severely lacking.
So, yes, this should be Godsent's round, I feel like I don't even need to tell you that. But what I do need to tell you is that Godsent cannot afford to lose almost anything here. In order to forge a comeback and in order to take 16, they do need to make this almost perfect. They could probably concede an AK, and then in a dream scenario, they won't. And so they will take this very, very slowly. It's that same kind of crossfire we're talking about before. You see Pasha, he's just lingering, ready to go for that repeat. Should Bialy show face on stairs, but this could be the pick, and the tip of his head was not enough. JW tries to get a HE into the grill of Pasha, and he does so. Only chunks him down to 73, though, and this is how slow it's going. I mean, look at that. The bomb is still way back in towards T-Apps, and we're just going to sit back and wait. 40 seconds, and they have not made any progress towards either of these sites. They don't need to. They're just waiting. It does look like they've made a choice.
Yeah, well, VP making themselves very scarce on B is forced Godsent over towards A now. The issue is that VP kind of out in the open here. They don't have close angles yet. Neo's hoping to establish just one of those now as well. He's going to turn that flash quickly. Snyder might be caught here as well. He does fall down there as well. Neo gets himself an AK. This might turn around. JW just around the corner, thinks twice about peeking that one. Backs away in towards danger, and Taz picks up Pasha. It's happening again. Virtus.Pro going to turn it around. But Pronax gets himself too quickly. Pasha shuts down JW.
Oh my God.
There it is. Virtus.Pro flip it on its head yet again. Godsent needed to stabilize, and Virtus.Pro have pulled the rug out from under them.
They had nothing. Virtus.Pro operates so well with absolutely nothing. Neo, that quick kill onto Snyder, put an AK in his palms. JW started getting sweaty palms himself. As Taz, we didn't get to see it, but just blows up 2 USP frags back to back. Pasha on the flank. Oh my God, it's just disintegrated for the Godsent boys. It has just, I mean, you said it perfectly. The rug pulled from under them. They have no idea what has just happened, and neither do we. That's madness. This should be VP's then. I said they shouldn't lose a single rifle. They lost all of them, bro.
It's not been good. VP have been able to create some incredible opportunities out of just pistols here and damn good positioning.
Man, I've got a smile on my face. That's nuts. That should never happen.
So Godsent have Not a lot to work with here. Utility-wise, none. Armor, none. They've gone for the pistol, something a bit aggressive, maybe a bit reckless, maybe a bit desperate here at this stage. And Taz, well, we know he loves this position, don't we, Alex? He's going to get the bomb down there as well in drop room. This is going to force Schneider down at some point to try and pick it up, but Taz has to be careful not to overextend here and give any opportunities to Godsent. He does take down Schneider, but there's Flusher finding snacks.
Yeah, see you later, man. This is only 14 for VP, and Flusher, he's just sitting there. They're probably still talking through that round. Like, this is where they're just having a bit of a heated debate, saying what on earth just went wrong. And the real kind of crux of the issue is that Taz got 2 quick kills with the USP, no Kevlar. How on earth did that come about? Schneider got picked and extended without someone to trade as well. You saw him getting killed by Neo, and there was no one there. Alongside him was JW, but he had an AWP and was unwilling to kind of swing into the trade. And it did just come crippling down. I mean, look at this now. Look at their money. This is going to be, what, Tech 9 armor for 2 of them? AKs for the rest. Oh dear, oh dear. You
do get some weird situations on A-Long where you actually have 2 players there that can't trade or can't trade for each other because one might be in danger, one might be on A-Long. Yeah. It's sort of, they're close together as far as the map's concerned, but they have to also walk up the stairs or whatever to try and respond. And some teams overextend to try and get those trades like we saw Taz do earlier on here. So a little bit tricky there, and Godsent got nothing for it. So now 14-10, Godsent looking down the barrel of a crushing defeat there off the back of a few rounds that they should have won. But now Neo on the statue here as well. Early damage coming across towards Pasha. He gets his head taken clean off. There we see Neo can't even sort of rescue the situation, get himself one, but it's traded out instantly, and Crims with his second. Bomb goes down, and Taz now to save it.
Godsent have finally kind of broken this VP hold on B, and the only reason they managed to do so was by taking the platform before the CTs could set up. That's the best we've seen from them in a very long time. Now Snax is getting pressure from everywhere. He is going to go down. Pronax, no, he's handed out a haircut. It's a free one with the USP. Oh man, oh man.
Inverted Mohawk even.
Solid work from him, and it will have the AWP taken away. They want to try and retrieve that. Whether they have time is a different question. Yes, Crims will snatch away the Pashas from statue. Okay, sigh of relief for every Swedish fan out there, however. Wow, the only reason they found success there was because they didn't have what we've been keep on talking about, this duo ship over on towards Plateau. It's just they didn't let them set that up. A couple of smokes, a couple of fast flashes, and it did stop them. You saw Pasha try and set himself up, back away because of a Molotov, and get locked out on statue. That was very good from Godsent. However, they're not going to go ahead and trust the same strategy twice. Instead, they look to kind of divide once again, taking the bomb and Pronax over towards B, and it's going to be Mr. Pronax who's going aggressive again. He's pulling the Olafmeister, creeps onto platform, and denies the control from the CTs early.
Yeah, Pasha obviously can't see through that smoke there as well. He'd love to use the Nova at close range here, but Pronax will be none the wiser to the position. A very closely nestled pole there as well. Try and work his way around the box in due time, but Snax is going to be smoked out there and towards danger. Gonna flash himself through there as well. Look for something, but a little bit disconcerted there to what he found. Pasha, though, in other news, picks up Pronax over on that B side, but it was just the one player that Godsent sent.
Yeah, and what's interesting is not only did Pasha retrieve the AK, but he's also got information. He made the call well before he got that kill. He got that information well before he got that kill that they were going to wait, because their rotate started. And now the numbers are again in favor of Virtus.Pro. Will they take this first map convincingly? Will we see a 16-11 scoreline? Snyder and Flusher want to prove us otherwise. Creeping and crawling now towards that Titanic.
Taz in the JW spot we saw earlier on here as well. He managed to get the easy and free kill over on the site. But this time Godsent should be expecting him. Neo with the AWP. Set up here, just in a pivot position through connector. They've even got a player in through hall. So Virtus.Pro have most of the possibilities canvassed out here as well. And Schneider is going to be boosted up briefly just to take a peek there in towards storage.
I really like that Pasha hasn't continued to push. Like, he has basically forced them to commit towards A, and they didn't even realize it yet. Godsent, we know where you're coming from, and we are going to hit our shots. Bomb loose, and it looks like it's going to be all on Taz. No, Flusher just bite back, if not just for a moment. 25 seconds left, and he does have to still get that bomb down. He's going to have to retrieve it from his fallen comrade, and he does do so. 20 seconds, the bomb has to go down, but there's a player stopping the cross. It will be Neo, and Neo does enough with just the P2 fitting. In fact, I believe that was even the P2K. But 15-11, and oh man, it could very well be a VP first map here on Cobblestone. Second map will be Cash, if you are interested. That was Godsent's choice. Cobble was the choice of the Polish side, Virtus.Pro. And then Train is our third, should we need it.
Yeah, may well be match point here as well. And Godsent just going to be rummaging through their pockets for spare change. Most of it appears to be lint, but they managed to get themselves at least a UMP, a MAC-10, and a couple Tech 9s in the mix here as well. They've got armor, and that's going to serve them well here as well. As Bialy just going to back away quickly, senses something quickly coming towards drop room. He's not wrong, but Neo comes through the window there from connector, gets himself one, and now going to have to back away as Bialy does fall to the aggression from drop.
Just Crims then and Flusher, and they've both been taken down so damn quickly. You blink and you miss the final round. Virtus.Pro take map 1. It will be a truly fantastic best of 3. Godsent have already been tested and have straight up brawl on the second half. We got to see VP just really just kick Godsent down a notch, a peg or two. I mean, like, they win the pistol. They've already had a sterling 8 rounds on CT's side. Things are looking bright. That's how we opened it, right? We framed it. Godsent looking great coming into the second half. And then VP just lock things down. A fantastic setup from them on Cbble.
The thing is that Godsent seemed to be, for the most part, winning the rounds, or they had to win, right? They were on their last chance. They managed to buy up. They all had like $100 in the inventory, and they win that round. Great. But in the rounds that they should win, right? When the rounds that they are way well poured out, the anti-eco rounds, they're getting absolutely hammered in there as well, for reasons unbeknownst to us as well. Virtus.Pro.
2 P250s, that was it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and there was even the USP work of Taz there as well over on the A side there. So things that maybe shouldn't be happening are not happening. So some of the must-haves are there for Godsent. Some of the really should-haves don't seem to be present there, at least on that last match.
Well, let's not forget, this is a debut. The announcement was made about 45 minutes ago that this was the new Swedish roster being presented for Godsent, fielded, of course, from the old Fnatic. And we're going to be seeing how they do fare on their map choice after a very short break. When we do come back, we will see Cash and see if Godsent can bounce back and treat us to a full best of 3. We'll see you in just a moment.